go pick berries? Yeah, they're not blueberries. Don't get so excited. You're a silly dog. Alright, well, we're going to go pick some blackberries and see if we can get enough for jam. As you can see, blackberries are starting to come in. We've had a massive quantity of rain the past few days, and some of the berries are starting to rot on the vine. And that's unfortunately a thing that happens. So basically what we do with these is we pick them off and they either go to the goats or the chickens, or if they're too bad they just go to the compost pile. That way they don't sit on the vine and continue to spread to the other berries, because the fungus can actually spread to other berries. So just to give you an idea, I'm out here in the woods picking the wild blackberries, and in my hand I've got our cultivated blackberry. So you can see there's quite a difference in size between the two. Here's a close-up of the raspberry bushes that have finally decided to bloom. You'll throw some of those in there as well. Blackberry and raspberry jam is just as tasty as blackberry jam, in my opinion. Excuse you? Those are not for you! You little brat! Get your face out of there. Alright, we've got our berries, so we're ready to make jam. We're making freezer jam. So the ingredients that we're going to be using are berries, sugar, lemon juice, and pectin. The first step that we need to do is to rinse the berries and get 4 cups of berries. So we're going to rinse the berries off. Doesn't matter how well you think you picked them. It's time to do a little QA/QC. Especially if you had kids help you pick them, there's going to be some that are a little less ripe than you thought. Some are going to be a little more ripe than you thought. So it's always good to double check them as you rinse them off. I like to do mine by feel as well as visual, just to make sure that they're firm enough. If they're too squishy, they get chucked out. As I said before, we have goats and chickens that are happy to eat any leftovers that we aren't going to eat. Alright, we've got 4 cups of berries. Here we go. We're going to dump them into this bowl, and we are going to crush them. So, a key thing to remember here, I've learned, is you don't actually want to pulverize them all to a pulp. One of the good things about having family members help with this who are younger is they don't like to mush the berries quite as much as I do. So my daughter and my husband are actually a little better at making freezer jam than I am, because I like to make everything a completely uniform mushed consistency, which is actually bad when you're making freezer jam. You want a few lumps of berries in there because it makes your jam set better. If you're like me and you mush your jam to a uniform pulped mush consistency, you sometimes end up with a runny jam. If you're wondering, the box tells you what happens if your jam doesn't set. Their recommendation is to do a test batch, which in my opinion is not helpful. My recommendation is, if your jam doesn't set, use it as an ice cream topping, or French toast or pancake syrup. I think that's much more helpful. The other thing, which is not related by the way, that's helpful. We're making blackberry and raspberry combined. The instructions require the same amount of sugar for both. If you are doing a combined jam with, say, blackberry and strawberry, or blackberry and cherry, or blackberry and blueberry, or whatever, just keep in mind the sugar amounts may be different, so you may have to adjust. Or if you're using strawberries or something that are a sweeter than normal, you may want less sugar. If they're tartar than normal, you may want to add more sugar. Alright, now we're going to add 4 cups of sugar. I am not an exact cook. I don't measure everything exactly. Some people do. That's just not how I cook. So if you want to watch one of somebody who cooks like an exact measuring cup cook, that's not going to be me. After we put the sugar in, we're going to stir it in. And the thing with this, for me, again, it's about how it feels. I mean, some people probably are going to be like, I don't know what you're talking about, but for me, I can feel the graininess of the sugar in my jam. And I just like, well, I guess it's not jam yet, it's just berries, but I like to stir until I can't feel that graininess anymore. And once it's all stirred in, it's going to sit for 10 minutes. Alright, as you get to the last few minutes on the countdown for the fruit, I like to mix up the pectin and the lemon juice. When you use the fruit pectin, I like to massage it a little bit. You don't know how long it's been sitting, so I just mix it up a little bit before we put it into our mixing area. I don't do a separate bowl. I just mix it back into our measuring cup that we put the fruit in. There's not, I mean, it just had fruit in it, so. Alright, get that. And then we need 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I don't know where our tablespoon measuring cup is, so I'm just going to use a ½ tablespoon, which is why you're going to see me dump 4 of these in here instead of 2. It's still going to be 2 tablespoons. The recipe calls for fresh lemon juice. You can use bottled lemon juice. I don't think I've ever used fresh lemon juice, to be honest with you. I don't know of anybody who has. If you've made this with fresh lemon juice, kudos to you. You have more time than I do. So just mix that up. We've got 3 seconds left on our jam concoction, our future jam. I keep calling it jam. It's not jam yet. Our future jam. Alright. Mix this up. There we go. I'll give this one last stir. And then we'll mix this in with it. Okay, now we get the artwork out. This all has to be mixed for 3 minutes straight. So we're going to put 3 minutes on our clock and then get to mixing. So you can see at the moment, whoops, as I spill it on the thing, it's all not very mixed. So I'm going to start mixing and clean up my mess, and I will take a break there, and we'll come back when we have the 3 minutes down and we're ready to put it into the containers. Ta-da! Containers! Alright, now that we've got everything mixed up, we're ready to put it in containers. If you make jam, or you have issues like me with your hands sometimes not being steady, I would totally recommend getting one of these. This is kind of like a strainer, but it helps you put the jam in the container without spilling it everywhere. So now we're going to load the jam into the containers. You want to leave at least ½ inch of headspace for when it goes into the freezer to leave room for expansion. These containers do not need to be sterilized. Just dishwasher clean, hand clean, and freezer safe. And that's basically all you need. And you're ready to go. These are store-bought jam jars that we've saved. You don't even have to have special jars or anything. We like to use glass for the most part because they are a little bit more reusable and you don't have to worry about all the BPA nonsense. So just fill them up, put a lid on them, and then after that they do have to sit for 24 hours. Don't put them in the freezer right away. You can eat the jam right away. If you are worried about things like corgi blessings in your jam, you can put them in the freezer and then thaw them back out. The freezer is a source of sterilization, so you don't have to eat it right away. We usually don't worry about that, but that's personal choice, so it is totally up to you. Alright, here are our filled jam jars. Make sure you label them. I usually do the name of the jam or type of jam and the year. You will be surprised at the memory you don't have when you go back to get the jam later. And these, like I said, they need to sit for 24 hours, and then you put them in the freezer, or if you're going to use them right away, put them in the fridge. Okay, we're back to check on our jam. See if it's set. And yes, it did. So now we can stick it in the freezer, or as I said before earlier, you can put it in the fridge, eat it right away. My jam will be going on my morning English muffins. I will be enjoying it very much.